Hey guys, FatBuddyCat here. How you doing? It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I finally made it to the hardware store. Let's do this. Alright guys, I might as well show you my take from the hardware store. Here's what we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 packages of 5/8. They're calling them bushings, alright? They're like washers, except they don't have all the extra cyborg meat. What I mean by that is a 5/8 washer, okay? That is a 5/8 bushing. This was $8.19. We got 2 of those. Alright? Yeah. The girl at the desk couldn't believe it either. So, let's see what we can do. Alright guys, before we get to these various weapons of Warcraft, I just want to apologize for the fan. It's a hot one out here today, huh, Rem? Yeah, sugar boy. Also, big shout out to my boy Corey over at MiniBike Rehab. Got those camo shorts with those Crocs. That boy would be welding in something like that. Gotta get over there and check him out. See some of the crazy things he's doing with his mini bikes. Alright guys, we're gonna get back into this. Okay, so what I went ahead and did is I used one of these 5/8 bushings, okay, back here, alright, against our spacer, alright, and then I'm probably going to switch those, alright, so that way I don't have all that extra cyborg meat next to my chain. Alright, well fine, here, you want to watch me do this? I'll show you why. This is why I do takes on things sometimes, guys. Alright, it's definitely not the easiest thing to do when you get a camera in your hand. Alright, I'll get you up there. Alright, now what I did is I just switched that around so that my bushing is on the inside. Then we have our spacer, okay, very technical terms. We'll put that on. Alright, now we have about an 1/8 inch for our chain, okay, which is nice. And we'll bring this in, alright, and then one of these big Duca 5/8 washers, okay, that's a washer now, not a spacer or a bushing, we've learned that, and our other sprocket, and there's obviously going to be some keys involved in this, and I'm aware that we might be cutting a keyway into this, okay, so that's there, okay, and put this chain on here, not cut to length, not worried. Alright, okay, no, that looks alright. Let me get that out of the way. Okay, then we take our square, we get all this extra phallus out here, so we just, you know, get up on there, square up to our sprocket over here, and oh man, look at that. Not too shabby, alright? Now, no, it doesn't matter where the engine twists. This is bolted to the engine, alright? So as long as we're on the phallus against the sprocket, alright? Keeping it on the phallus and down. Look at that. Perfect, alright? Moving on. Okay, now something I've been doing, guys, off camera is making these bushings and cutting all these things myself, alright? Because I don't have them, alright? And I didn't really find them either, okay? This we're going to make a keyway in. This would be similar to the washers with the keyways that you find on the regular Jackshafts, on the torque converters. Hey guys, let's look around. Going up, What do we got in here, guys? Oh! Basically a brand new torque converter. Brand new pulley. Look at that. Must be from our friends over at OMB Warehouse. Look at that. Huh? Cool. Thanks, Grey Goat. The big moment. Oh yeah. Look at that, guys. You know what I'm saying? Alright. Alright, so in order to mark this out and get this thing cut into size, we're going to have to put our lock collars on. Okay? Now these ones I got in a 4-pack from OMB Warehouse was a really good price. These will just slide on. Alright. Alright, so I'm really glad I grabbed these up. Alright, they're a little bit thicker than the regular style lock. Alright guys, I'm really glad I picked these up. Not because this style lock collar won't work, alright, but it made my spacing easier. Okay? These things really grab, alright? These aren't going to let go, in my experience, okay? I'll say that. I'm sure they could. So what I did is I left a little bit extra. Let me get you out there. Out there on the back, okay? About a 1/4 inch or so. Alright, and then it's the same thing in the back. I put a bushing, alright? And then my split collar. Okay, now all of these Allen's heads that you see in here, alright, I'm gonna take those out and I'm gonna be running my keyway straight through those. Alright, and then we're gonna be locking our keyway in with this bushing. Alright, and then our lock collar will go on. Okay, now I'm going to check what I have for spacing with my chain, okay, because that could be the next thing that we're interfering with. However, all things considered, I think we're actually slightly smaller and we're not even tightened down yet. So it's just going to be a question as to whether it can catch the edge of our hex head here. Alright, let me see what happens. Alright, so we'll add a second bushing. We'll add a second bushing. Alright, then our split collar. Yeah, that looks much better, okay? Plenty of room from our chain. Plus, this looks really, really nice. Where this is that black oxide kind of thing that matches the clutch. Okay, so that's how we're going to do that. We got that 1/4 inch in the back still. Make sure, yep. Push everything snug. And I'm just going to mark that with a permanent marker. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to cut it off. Alright guys, so the way I cut this thing, I had my goggles and my gloves, had it in the vise, alright? It was on this end. Where I had marked it with the marker, I started my cut with my hacksaw right on my keyway, okay? It was actually this nice clean side. Okay, that way I was nice and straight through that section. Then I moved the whole thing over to the doorway, pulled out old Hercules, lopped it off. Alright, then it went directly to the bench grinder where we put that nice tapered edge on it. Okay, pretty much copying what was on the other side. Okay, so I made sure it was flat up here Nice edge. Then we took our file and we just cleaned up the keyway. Okay, now that we basically have our Jackshaft kit in a bag, our wrench, and a section of chain, we can just move that aside. Alright, now another thing I went ahead and moved aside was the stock air box, okay? Not for fitment reasons, but so you can see what we're doing here. Well, me too, you know. So this plate does have holes in it, okay? And those slots right there, what those are is Predator 212 layout. Alright, now that's going to carry over to the front of this plate as well. It's going to be kind of hard to see up in there, but I see one. Alright, instead of the slots, it just has two holes in the front. Alright, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be extending the holes in the front to make slots just like that. Alright, because that way, all we have to do is mark single holes to drill through the stock plate. Alright, and that'll give us our mount and front to back adjustability. You see these slots here, how long those are? We're going to do the same thing, or at least try to. First thing, pull that motor. In my case, I'm just going to need a 1/2-inch wrench. Sometimes you can get one of these to work. And just take these bolts out. Remember, no nuts to worry about. I'll tell you, it's always your ratchet wrench when you're doing something like this, especially when it's an easy one. There was a basket over here. Oh, there we go. Now that the job's complete. Proof how hot it is, guys. Look at my gummy worms. Mmm. Get you some. Okay, motor's off the plate. So we got our bolts, ratchet wrench. Alright, now we can flip it over and you can really see what I'm talking about. Alright, these are what I'm talking by Predator 212 layout. Alright, so we really want to make these a skosh longer. Alright, and then mimic the same thing up here. Okay, but what we got to consider is where we put our holes when we mount it, alright, so that we're able to use that. Okay, first thing, the slots. Alright, we're using a big 12, but you could probably use a regular speed square too. I just don't want to fish mine out right now, but these holes should line up. I mean, this is definitely, yeah, this is a grade A product, guys. There's no doubt about it that these things are plumb and square. Okay, so we know they're gonna work. Now what we have to do is mark out some channels. Okay, and what I mean by channels is a line, or I should say a series, 2 parallel lines, one on each side of the hole in the slot. Alright, I'll show you what I mean. Well, looks like someone tried to be fancy again. Yeah, I was going to use this nice red pencil and that didn't work out, so grabbed the punch and held it up against my square and just etched those son of a guns right in there. Okay, some caveman stuff. Alright, now that those channels are marked out, okay, we can pretty much see what we're going to do. We're going to extend these ones, alright, and I'm going to measure them. And whatever length these ones are, we're going to do the same thing down here. So let's figure out how long we want to make them first. The stock bad boys are about 1.25 inches. We come on over here, alright, and I lay out my 1.25 inches. Alright, so say that was 1. No, that'd be 1.25. Let you think about that for a second. Got it? Okay, so That's that line to the edge of the slot. Okay? And then back here, I made a mark, alright, for my 1.25 inches. Boom, boom. Okay? So the next thing we're going to do is take a step bit, and I'm going to drill out that end of each slot. Alright, eye protection and glove time. I've never used one of these cutoff wheels on a Dremel before. This one definitely looks a little shady. I don't know if those little rubber bands are supposed to go on both sides, but I'm not sure that would improve the situation. I'm gonna give this a whirl, guys. We'll see what happens. Alright, well, these stupid little discs definitely weren't up for the job, but who was is the Breakout boys, Big Herc and Kyle the File. Okay, they were able to do everything we needed them to do, you know, plus a little more. Herc doesn't hold back. We'll slap some grill paint on that real quick. The next step is going to be putting the plate onto the stock plate and transferring the holes to be drilled. Okay, so in order to get a nice flat mount, we're going to go ahead and grind off these rivets. Alright, we might be able to just do it with our step bit. Okay, we got the plate on the plate, alright, and we know we're going to be sitting like this, flush with this edge, okay? So, there's our slot. Alright, what we're going to be trying to do is drill out the back of every slot, right, with one hole straight through. That way, we have full adjustability like that. Okay, so this will be our all the way forward position. So if we're in all the way forward, we put our bolts all the way back on all 4 slots, right? And then theoretically that should give us, you know, close to 1.25 inches of back and forward. The back ones were real easy to get with the, you know, punch stick over there. Alright, you know, I just gave it the old whap a tap and then just drilled them out. But the front is a little more elusive. Okay, white out. And here's what you'll end up with. Alright, I think we could do this. Alright, I can see holes in all of my slots. Alright, this is where you just have yourself a slug of orange juice. Ah, that was good, guys. You deserve that. Alright. Sweet. Okay. Now we're just going to step those up. One spot on the bit. Alright. Make sure that your bolt fits. Okay. Look the same in every hole, right? That to the side. You can sweep it off. You wheel it outside. Then you hit it with that grill paint. Alright, well, it's not quite factory, but it's like factory. Alright, the easiest way to do this, guys, is to put the bolts through. Alright? Like that. Okay, and then you're going to find your holes. And you just set it down in. I'll show you why in a second. Okay, if for whatever reason you have a hard time, alright, dropping it on, I found another easy way, just messing around. Do your front two first, okay? Add a washer and a nut, alright? And then just find your back ones, okay? And then lower your bolts through. Alright, and then you can just add your washers and your nuts. Okay, at this point you don't have to tighten it down. It's not going to go anywhere. And you have these really nice slots in the side, okay? These, you know, big elongated submarine windows. where you can reach your wrench in, and if you use like a ratchet wrench, you can get in and twist it. All kinds of cool things. The back ones are really easy to get to. These are real, like I said, these are well thought out. I really like them. Now that they're all on there, it's not going anywhere. Hold on, let me get repositioned. All right, I got you guys propped up against the mallet, but you know, we can grab onto this thing. You see what I'm saying? Ooh la la, huh? I mean, that's some good adjustment right there. And that's fresh. Super fresh. We're gonna grab that motor and put it on the bike. We're gonna line it up with the holes. Then you add your bolts and tighten them down. See if I can't show you the adjustability from another angle. Wow. Okay. Beautiful. Alright guys, I got all the Smurf blood wiped up. No one will ever know we were here. Next, it's going to be our Jackshaft kit. This is going to go on exactly the same way. All the parts are here. Okay? Alright guys, so when I get to this point, alright, and we're going to be measuring for our key, alright, the split collar on that side is snug, alright, and we have a little bit of reveal here, but I think we have a little more on the other side, okay? So I'm going to loosen it up, and I'm going to center up the amount of overhang I have. Let me do it, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I can now freely move the actual shaft back and forth, okay? I'm going to hold everything sandwiched together, and I'm going to place even overhang here, okay, as well as on the back side. Alright, and I'll go ahead and tighten the back one on. Now that we have a nice even reveal on both sides, we can go ahead and measure for our key. So I'll take that off, take those off. Alright, I'm going to have to line everything up with the keyway, get a piece of key stock, slide it in, alright, as far as I can, and then mark it and cut it. Okay, we got a big old shish kebab. This looks familiar, doesn't it? Let's go ahead and walk in. Alright, we're going to cut. Sorry guys, you know what I'm saying? We're going to cut that off. Also, real quick, see how substantial our key is? Okay, and that's because we used that washer that we had left over from a spare torque converter. And just like that, we have the key. The key goes on. Make sure everything's pulled up tight. Alright, it'll get there. And then we can start putting our sprockets on. Alright. Our special washer. Ooh, yeah. Alright. And then our last sprocket. Look at that. Okay. Another bushing. And then finally, our other split collar. I'll tighten that on. And there we go. One Jackshaft. All lined up. Ready for action. Okay. Where I learned how to do this, guys? Zach's Pro Mod. Alright. I actually mentioned this to the Coreys. Alright. If you want to check out their channels, MiniBike Madness and MiniBike Rehab. Alright. But that's where I got the idea. Pretty cool, huh? So the obvious next move is the chains, right? The back one's pretty self-explanatory, and we got all kinds of action for that, because this moves, right, when this is bolted on solid, right? This moves like this, and that'll move this chain, but not this one. Alright, well, this plate, let me take our clutch off. Oop, don't forget our spacer. Space age, we'll like it. Alright, here's what we're going, guys. All of these are for adjustment, alright, so that you can find your link or put tension on your jackshaft chain by itself, alright? And as long as your spacer allows you, okay, meaning this one, as long as nothing's huge in there, then this can move around, alright, with these slots. Now what I would do is loosen this one, alright, just barely. Loosen these ones, alright, put the clutch on, put the chain on, figure out where we are. I can use a wrench and tighten these ones, right? Then pull this off and tighten that one. Put it back together. Everything should be kosher. Let's find out. Alright, I got these things all loosened. I think you can see them from there. You see something kind of freaky? Isn't that weird? The plate moves. Clutch stays still. So for that reason, we're going to set this chain first. That way, if we set the back one, you see what I mean? It would possibly screw you up there. So make sure you pay attention. Alright, I got our piece of chain, 35, and our ARC chain brake I got from OMBwarehouse.com. Okay, so now we have loosey-goosey cyborg counterpart, and we should be able to just push that back and get some tension on it. Alright, yeah, we're gonna have to get more than that. Let's see if I can do something here. Okay, so I think the problem I'm having is I'm hitting on my lock washers, so I'm not getting the full adjustment. I already took another link out of the chain, so I'm gonna back these off and see if I can't get it there. Alright guys, this thing is beautiful, but before I go tightening anything, we're gonna have to get these bolts tightened, alright, including that one that's hiding down below in that slot back there. You can kind of see it right there behind the clutch. Alright, so tighten the other ones first, pull the clutch off, and then that one. Only difference, guys, I switched back to like a standard clutch washer just to work as sort of a chainstay if this thing were to come off the sprocket, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Pretty sweet. We'll have to see what that is. There we go. Just hanging up on that master link a little bit. This chain's a little crispy, guys. Alright, this is an old one. Needs to be lubed up, but that's what we got so far. Okay, and that's as tight as that chain's gonna be. If anything, it's gonna stretch a little. But while we're remaining optimistic with that, we know we can get that to work. Alright, let me get that master link off there, and I think I'm just going to hammer a couple links off of it. Probably at least one. So with the engine pulled all the way back, okay, and our tensioner all the way forward, I can get some serious linkage out of this thing, okay? But just to play it safe, and we have so much forward to back movement, I'm gonna leave this long, okay? And I'll just end up taking a couple off, just one link, one usable link. Okay, so now that we have a nice loose chain on here, all right, I'm gonna pull the engine forward and tighten it down. Okay, now our engine is forward and tightened, and we have just a little bit of slack, and we're going to put a little bit on our tensioner, but not much at all. And as this thing starts to stretch, we have all of that to work with. Alright guys, we're not exactly riding it, and it's got a squeaky brake, but here's what we got. Not too bad. Well, that's going to be all for tonight, guys. Alright. This is a really, really clean install. That's what we're going for. Okay. Everything's nice and straight. Doing what it's supposed to do. Alright. Still got the air box off so we can see it in all its glory. That's the back side of that jack shaft. Okay. Our tensioner wheel looks good. I might make an adjustment with that tensioner wheel actually, because I think what it's doing is the chain's straight, but the tensioner is not. Alright, so I'll take a look at that, and I think what I have to do is add some washers and actually bring the tensioner wheel over a skosh. Alright, so we'll look at that tomorrow. This is really cool. The gas cap comes right off, right out of the way. Now we can fuel this bad boy right up. So, good stuff. That's what I call a work in progress. You guys have a good night. And thanks for watching. Stay tuned. There's plenty more.